Nicholas Latifi headed into his third season in Formula One in 2022 with aspirations of emerging as Williams' team leader after 2 years in George Russell's shadow. However, he is now experiencing the worst Formula One season of his career and is currently ranked 21st in a 20 Drivers' Championship. Let's take a look at how bad Latifi's F1 career is. After 3 years of competing in Formula One, Latifi might have no choice but to retire from the sport. Williams is no longer pleased with the performance of the Canadian, and the team has decided to replace him with a new driver for the 2023 season to compete alongside Alexander Albon. It is not yet clear who will take up the seat currently held by Latifi. However, a number of drivers, including Nyck Vries and Logan Sargent, have a chance at the seat. It is no secret that Latifi took a lot of money with him when he signed a contract at Williams in 2020. The team was struggling financially, so a pay driver like Latifi was more than welcome. However, the team's performance has been steadily improving over the past few years, largely thanks to their new owner, Doralton Capital, and a somewhat superior car in terms of its capabilities. The time has come for Williams to find another driver who, like Albon, can pick up points in races. In fact, it was evident from the beginning of Latifi's F1 career that he was not cut out for a position in the sport. Latifi's junior career was marked by a string of mediocre performances in Formula 3, Formula Renault 3.5 and GP2/Formula 2. In F3, Latifi's best finishes were 15th and 10th, while in the Formula Renault series, he never finished higher than 11th. After that, Latifi competed for a number of years in the GP2/F2 series. In 2014 and 15, he drove several races in the then GP2 series without any exciting results. The year 2016 marked the first time the Canadian athlete competed at a full-time level, but only finished 16th. His first victory came in the year 2017, but in the year that followed, he had a lot of trouble with both his driving style and the way the new car was built. Alexander Albon, who was Latifi's teammate at DAMS, finished ahead of him in the 2018 season. As a result of his performance, Albon was offered a contract in F1. With the departure of Albon, George Russell and Lando Norris, F2 lost a number of competitive drivers after 2018. This opened the door for Latifi to compete for the F2 championship title. The Canadian driver successfully won 4 races in 2019, but in the end, Latifi couldn't compete with the pace of Nyck Vries. Nyck Vries finished the season with a 52-point lead, which was enough to win the championship. After finishing in second place in Formula 2, Williams made an offer to Latifi for a contract for the 2020 season. In his debut year competing in Formula 1, the Canadian was defeated by his teammate George Russell 16-0 in the qualifying duel. The average difference in qualifying was more than half a second, the biggest gap on the grid. In the races, too, Russell finished 10 times ahead of his colleague, while Latifi only managed to do so 6 times throughout the competition. Latifi finished the season with no points to his name. Even the following year, Latifi could not match Russell's talent. He was defeated in the qualifying duel with a score of 20-2, and in the race itself, he was only able to finish in front of Russell once. Latifi was only able to score 7 points that season, which is a pitiful total when compared to Russell's total of 16 points. You're enjoying this video, right? You definitely don't want to miss out on other amazing videos, so all you have to do is hit the subscription button. It's that easy. Thanks for doing that. Let's move on. Albon became Latifi's new teammate in 2022. The tired driver has previously prevailed over Latifi in Formula 2 competition. Nevertheless, it was yet another opportunity for the Canadian to demonstrate his worth. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. Latifi has no points so far this season, while Albon has 4 points to his name. Even Nyck Vries, who was a last-minute replacement for Albon at the Italian Grand Prix, could score 2 points. So far in 2022, Latifi has lost the qualifying duel 14-2 in favour of Albon. While in races, Latifi also managed to finish just once ahead of his teammate. Even with only a little bit of practice, De Vries was able to get the better of the Williams driver in both the qualifying round and the race. Latifi's performances showed that he was never a driver with exceptional talent. His greatest success in the step-up classes was a second-place finish in the Formula 2 Championship, and that was after 4 complete seasons. After 3 seasons in F1, Latifi does not look like he will perform much better in his 4th season. Because of this, Williams has decided that now is the best time to bid farewell to the driver. According to Latifi, it is too soon to say what direction his racing career will go. It seems unlikely that he will be able to secure a seat in Formula One for the 2023 season, given that he is not a contender for any vacant seats. Thus, he will have to go elsewhere for a racing program. Despite the fact that this year did not go according to plan for Latifi and may have signaled the end of his 3-season Grand Prix career, he is pleased with how he prepared for the season. He has always had a reputation as a hard worker and has been well liked in the team, with his struggles not down to a lack of effort. Latifi stated, "In terms of the approach, the work I was doing outside the track back on the simulator, I can pretty confidently say I'm probably one of the drivers who spend the most time in the simulator. I've done a lot to try to get on top of the issues I've had. It just didn't work out." So where did things go wrong? First and foremost, it was a lack of pace. Last season's qualification gap between Latifi and his teammate Russell averaged 0.406%. However, that advantage has increased this year to 0.585% compared to the new Williams driver Alex Albon. Also, he has had difficulty making a mark during races and competing for points on the rare occasions when Williams has had the pace to do so. His best finish came in the British Grand Prix, where he placed 12th. That was undoubtedly his best weekend, but such weekends have been rare. As a result of the increased difficulty of the cars that have been developed to comply with the new ground effect technical regulations, the Williams has become more difficult to drive, which means that Latifi has been unable to build on the solid progress he made last year. Earlier in the season, he admitted that he lacked trust in the car, but after making some changes to the chassis, things went much better for the mid-season run that began at Silverstone. Since then, he has shown flashes of speed here and there, including leading a session for the first and only time in his career as a Formula One driver during FP3 in Hungary, but results have not followed. When asked what he's had the most trouble with this year, he responded by saying the philosophy of these cars, not necessarily our car specifically, has kind of added to the difficulty of drivability. Obviously, they're stiffer, more on edge, less compliant, less forgiving. That's partly because of the tyre, partly the aerodynamics, the stiffness, so they're just not as nice to drive. Then our car in general has some fundamental flaws in the balance. We're lacking downforce, and we know that because when we get to maximum downforce tracks, we're less competitive compared to other tracks. That might sound like a series of excuses from Latifi for his failure, but fundamentally there's nothing inaccurate in what he says. The current cars have proven to be more challenging to drive. However, that doesn't mean Latifi is not responsible for his failure. After spending last year honing his driving skills to a respectable level, he claims his strategy was sound. Still, he was unable to implement it successfully in 2 different cars. Adaptability is typically one of the most important skills that help define a driver's successes at this level. The fundamental changes in the cars appear to have reset areas where Latifi had made respectable progress in 2020 and 21. When it comes to his ability to adapt, he is lacking. It's unclear what the future holds for Latifi. Back in Zandvoort, Latifi had stated that he was not considering options outside of Formula One until he knew the future with Williams. However, we can only hope that he will be able to join the lengthy list of drivers who, despite having their Grand Prix careers come to an end, went on to have successes in other types of racing, such as IndyCar, Formula E, or sports car racing. There are a plethora of opportunities available to him right now. The most important thing for Latifi to do at this point is to make the most of his remaining races with Williams, gain as much experience as possible from competing in Formula One, and if he is still looking for some mental reset or relief as a result of the impact of the abuse he faced after Abu Dhabi, find that peace of mind he is seeking. What's your thoughts about Latifi's F1 career? Let me know in the comments section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.